I think Netanyahu was right when he spoke in America in that rousing speech to point out that Israel is effectively fighting this not just for itself and for its own safety, but as the sort of forefront of democracy against these theocratic forces. The theocratic regime in Iran will not stop at Israel. Once it's wiped out Israel, its next statement is death to America. I think it's definitely something we need to worry about. And you're right, you're alluding to the fact that Sir Keir Starmer has opened up this diplomatic row now with Benjamin Netanyahu because there was this move to try to get the ICC, the International Criminal Court, to issue arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, the leader of democratic Israel, as a war criminal. Britain, under the Tories in their dying days of government, had put in an official objection on technical grounds, because actually, technically speaking with legal experts, it's quite dubious that the ICC, which doesn't really have jurisdiction in this case anyway, should be doing this, as well as being morally and ethically utterly corrupt. Now, the Labour government came in, and of course they're really torn because they have a large part of their voter base which is very anti-Israel and doesn't like the idea of the British government trying to stop that happening. And so they've twisted and turned and ummed and ahed, but now it's come out that they have indeed decided to remove that objection that the Tories had put in place. So they are not going to stand in the way of this ICC process should it go ahead. And I think that comes on the back of David Lammy as well, deciding to refund UNRWA, the United Nations Works and Relief Agency, which did provide aid and jobs and an awful lot of civilian infrastructure for the people of Gaza. It is the UN's only agency dedicated to one specific refugee population, the Palestinians. All other refugee populations in the entire world are dealt with together. Only one has its own agency. Indeed, only one set of refugees in the entire world is able to pass down forever through the patrilineal line the status of refugee. Even if you're settled in a new country, you can pass down Palestinian refugee status, which means it's an ever-growing refugee population.
Like the former Adidas model who was fired for being an anti-Semite but promoting Adidas shoes.
Right. And I think that...
Forgotten her name, because I always forget baddies' names.
So I think you mean Bella Hadid?
Bella Hadid.
Yes. So I think the issue is that Lammy, having decided to refund UNRWA, the reason funding was removed, many countries removed funding, was because Israel proved that many of those UNRWA workers, many people directly involved with UNRWA, had been part of the October the 7th attacks and also had been affiliated with members of Hamas, and that there was a rot at the core of UNRWA because basically they said it was operating as the sort of polite face of Hamas. So countries rightly withdrew their funding, but now David Lammy has restored that. Keir Starmer has decided to remove the British objection to the ICC pushing forward with these arrest warrants. This is all not looking good for the British government's position on Israel and not looking good for Israel in that respect.